The medieval times, spanning from the fall of the Roman Empire around 500 AD to the dawn of the Renaissance in the 1500s, was an era of epic transformation. Far from the Dark Ages myth, it brimmed with soaring Gothic cathedrals, fearless crusades, innovative guilds, and intellectual rebirths. Plagues ravaged, kings warred, and serfs toiled under feudal lords. Yet humanity forged enduring legends of heroism, faith, and discovery that still captivate us today. Feudalism was the main, if not the unique form of governance in medieval times. It was characterized by a distinct hierarchical structure. Lords played a key role by granting land to vassals, who in return would pass on a share to those in their manor, shire, or simply their household. Vassals also owed loyalty to the lords who provided the land. Nobles possessed substantial authority in historical societies. They typically controlled extensive land holdings and estates. Nobles often commanded private armies, usually knights and thanes, increasing their power. Without this system, medieval communities would not finance wars and conduct campaigns. This control allowed them to exert significant influence over the peasantry's lives. Farming and tilling were central to sustain the communities of the day. They were the fundamental economic activities to help make a living. The majority of the population was involved in farming. Agricultural production primarily served to sustain the farmers themselves. The church and churchmen were another power difficult to reckon with in medieval times. They held substantial authority in multiple spheres. The church did significantly influence spiritual beliefs across the population. It controlled their minds and their deeds. Of course, their authority could yield them several returns. Not only that, it exerted considerable influence on political decisions. Kings, lords, often revert to churchmen. Again, their power helped them amass extensive wealth and land holdings. Daily life in medieval villages was structured around agricultural cycles. Local markets served as central hubs for trade and commerce. Community events and festivals provided social cohesion. The local lord exerted significant influence over village affairs. Feudalism was often connected to wars and invasions. Warfare was a persistent and pervasive aspect of historical life. Frequent conflicts erupted between various kingdoms and lords. These conflicts often led to widespread destruction of property and infrastructure. The constant state of war contributed significantly to societal instability. The threat of warfare was a daily reality for many populations. The era was punctuated by a general lack of prolonged peace and security. Medieval populations were often decimated by widespread diseases. The bubonic plague was a particularly devastating disease during this era. These outbreaks resulted in significant mortality rates across communities. Limited medical knowledge hindered effective treatment and prevention strategies. The lack of understanding about disease transmission exacerbated the spread. These factors combined to cause widespread social disruption and fear. It is important to know that invasions did indeed disrupt established social structures and daily life. These attacks resulted in widespread destruction of property and resources. Invasions led to immense suffering for the affected populations. The loss of life and displacement of people were common consequences of these historical events. In their turn, medieval kingdoms could not easily survive. They often faced internal divisions. Kings frequently struggled to exert authority, and powerful nobles challenged royal control. The fate of lands and territories was decided by the outcomes of wars and battles, and surprisingly, vast holdings further complicated governance. Peasant uprisings were occasional eruptions of social unrest. These revolts were often triggered by oppressive conditions. Heavy taxation was a significant factor contributing to the unrest. These uprisings challenged the established social and political order. Castles in the medieval era served dual roles as defensive structures and symbols of power. They provided a secure refuge for inhabitants during periods of conflict and warfare. The imposing architecture and strategic placement of castles demonstrated the lord's authority. Castles were central to the social and political landscape, reflecting the feudal system. Monasteries played a crucial role in preserving knowledge during the medieval period. They served as repositories for ancient texts, safeguarding them from loss or destruction. Monastery libraries were centers of learning, supporting intellectual pursuits. These institutions significantly contributed to the continuation of intellectual life throughout the Middle Ages. Trade routes served as conduits for the exchange of goods between different regions. These routes also facilitated the spread of ideas and cultural practices. By connecting distant areas, trade routes helped to overcome geographical barriers. The increased movement of goods and ideas fostered economic growth in many regions. Overall, trade routes played a crucial role in shaping economic and cultural landscapes. Skilled craftsmen, including blacksmiths, were vital to medieval society. Blacksmiths produced essential tools for agriculture and daily life. They also crafted weapons and armor for defense and warfare. Their work supported the economic and functional needs of the community. Medieval taverns functioned as important social centers within communities. They offered a communal space for individuals to congregate and interact. Taverns facilitated the exchange of news and information among patrons. They provided opportunities for leisure activities, offering a break from the rigors of daily life.